This is the story of 16-year-old Zariah Dodd, a pregnant teenager found dead in a Phoenix park. And the truth behind her killing is more disturbing than anyone imagined. Let's start at the very beginning. It's the morning of July 5th, 2025. Just before 6 a.m., Phoenix police get a call about a person lying on the ground at Marivue Park, near 55th Avenue and Osborne Road. Officers arrive, and what they find changes everything. Lying there is Zariah, gone. She's about 5 months pregnant. Her unborn daughter also did not survive, both victims of gun wounds. Right away, police know this isn't random. Something about the scene, the location, the timing tells them this was personal. By later that same day, Phoenix PD releases a statement confirming detectives are working the case around the clock. Then, the big break. 2 arrests. The first is James Gillett. He's only 18. The second is Jarrell Davis, 36 years old. And here's where it gets heartbreaking. Court documents reveal Davis is the father of Zariah's unborn child. This detail doesn't just shock the public, it shapes the entire investigation. So how did we get here? How does a pregnant teenager end up in a park before dawn, with 2 men now accused of killing her? As detectives dig in, they start tracing Zariah's final hours. She'd been living in a group home, a place meant to keep her safe. But the night before her death, she left. Staff reported her missing when she didn't come back. And within hours, she was dead. Police say the suspects knew her. This wasn't about chance. This was about control, fear, and silencing her voice. But the real twist? One of these suspects would eventually admit Davis ordered the killing. We're going to break down exactly what happened that night, from the text messages and surveillance footage to the shocking statement Zariah made to a state caseworker months before she died. Because this isn't just a murder story. It's a warning about what happens when systems meant to protect young people fail them completely. And the more police dug, the darker this story got. When Phoenix police found 16-year-old Zariah Dodd shot to death in Marivue Park, they knew immediately this wasn't random. The question was, who pulled the trigger and why? Detectives started with the basics, tracing Zariah's last movements. She'd been living in a group home, a place meant to protect her. But on the night of July 4th, she walked out. She never came back. The next morning, she was gone. Here's where things move fast. Using cell phone data, investigators tracked her calls and texts. Security cameras picked up her being picked up from the group home. Police confirmed that Jarrell Davis, 36, was the one behind the wheel. With him, James Gillett, only 18. This is where it gets chilling. Court documents say James Gillett confessed to police that Davis ordered him to kill Zariah. Ordered. Let that sink in. Why? The details are still being pieced together, but officials believe it's tied to Davis's control over Zariah and the fact that she was pregnant with his child, a pregnancy that was the result of sexual misconduct with a minor. Police say Davis first denied any involvement, but later, he admitted to dropping Zariah and James Gillett at Marivue Park, the exact spot where she was found dead. And this wasn't the first red flag. Months earlier, in December 2024, Zariah told a Department of Child Safety caseworker that Davis had threatened her with a gun to force sexual contact. This wasn't a rumor, it's in official records. The worst part? That warning didn't stop him from seeing her again. So now, Davis faces 2 counts of first-degree murder for Zariah and her unborn daughter, plus sexual conduct with a minor. James Gillett faces the same murder charges plus conspiracy. This wasn't some tragic accident. It was a premeditated act to silence a young girl. And the deeper detectives looked, the more they realized this was part of a much bigger pattern of abuse. In the next part, we'll break down the chain of events leading up to that night and how court records reveal a disturbing history between Davis and Zariah. Because once you hear what happened before July 4th,
You'll understand why prosecutors are calling this one of the most disturbing cases they've seen all year.
This 21-page report reveals grim details about the day Zariah Dodd was killed. She was 5 months pregnant, walking the street when the father of her unborn child and her current boyfriend picked her up. And just before she was killed, she sent a text to a friend that she was afraid. New court documents giving us insight into the timeline leading up to the murder of 16-year-old Zariah Dodd and her unborn child. The report says Dodd wanted to go to a friend's house on July 4th. Her caseworker told her no, but instead she could go for a walk. Investigators say Dodd left the group home with a laptop, a pink and purple tumbler, and a blue purse. The records say at some point during that walk is when Jacree, James, Lled, and Jarrell Davis picked her up. The document shows Dodd sent a text to a friend saying, quote, "We are literally driving in circles," and another one saying she was, quote, "afraid." The following day, a man walking his dog found Dodd's body, shot in the head. Investigators say eventually Jarrell Davis admitted to picking up Dodd and James Lled and dropping them off at Marivue Park. The probable cause sheet says Davis left and returned when he got a call from James Lled stating that he had killed Dodd. After more interviews, court docs say James Lled made a, quote, "full confession to the murder of Zariah." He said Davis had ordered him to shoot Dodd or Davis would kill them both, saying he, quote, "regretted it and wished he could take it back." Davis denied ordering Dodd's death.
By now, Phoenix detectives had their suspects, Jarrell Davis and Jacree James Lled. But what came out in court records, that's what truly set this case apart. Investigators discovered that Davis's relationship with Zariah didn't just happen in the weeks before she died. It allegedly started months earlier, when she was just a minor, and it was built on coercion, intimidation, and fear. In December 2024, Zariah told a Department of Child Safety caseworker something that should have set off every alarm possible. She said Davis had pointed a gun at her to force sexual contact. This wasn't just talk, it was documented in official case notes. Yet somehow, she stayed within his reach. Fast forward to the night of July 4th, 2025. Court documents lay out the chilling timeline. Davis picks up Zariah from the group home. James Lled is with him. The three of them head to Marivue Park. At some point that night, according to James Gillette's own confession, Davis tells him to kill her. No yelling, no heated argument, just an order. And why? Investigators believe Davis feared she'd speak out, not just about the pregnancy, but about the abuse. Silencing her meant silencing the truth. By early August, prosecutors filed an overwhelming list of charges. Both men faced 2 counts of first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and kidnapping. For Davis, there's more: sexual conduct with a minor tied directly to Zariah. The Maricopa County Attorney's Office confirmed both men are being held without bond. Prosecutors called them a danger to the community, and for good reason. This wasn't some spontaneous act. This was a premeditated plan involving a man more than twice her age, using another young man to carry out violence. But here's where the story takes another dark turn. Because while these murder charges are already horrifying, police soon uncover an entirely separate case involving Davis.
Tonight, new charges against Jarrell Davis, the man accused of killing the 16-year-old who was carrying his baby.
Davis was just arraigned on 20 new felony charges for his alleged involvement with another teenager, a 17-year-old girl. This is Davis's 3rd appearance in front of a judge in the past month. Police say when they picked him up on a gun-related charge in July, the 17-year-old girl was at his apartment. Davis was arraigned last week on 2 counts of first-degree murder for the death of Zariah Dodd and her unborn baby. Court documents reveal she was just 15 years old when she got pregnant, less than half the age of Davis.
Another underage girl, and even more disturbing crimes. In the next part, we dig into those new charges and why they've got investigators saying this case may be far bigger and far worse than anyone first believed.
2 counts of murder and serious misconduct charges might seem like enough for one case, but for 36-year-old Zariah Davis, the allegations did not stop there. In early August 2025, just weeks after his arrest in connection with the deaths of Zariah Dodd and her unborn daughter, investigators announced more charges. The Avondale Police Department stated that Davis was facing 20 additional felony counts and 8 misdemeanors in a completely separate matter. These new allegations involve another underage individual. Authorities say they include offenses related to inappropriate communication, unlawful contact, and actions that put a minor at risk. Investigators say they have substantial supporting evidence, including digital records and witness accounts. To them, this showed a troubling pattern of behavior. Months before Zariah's death, she had told a Department of Child Safety worker that she felt threatened by Davis. That report was officially documented. Yet, according to investigators, he remained in contact with her. Now, prosecutors allege a repeated targeting of vulnerable young people. In Zariah's case, they believe she was harmed to prevent her from speaking out. Meanwhile, Jeshry James Gillette, just 18, is also in custody facing the same murder charges. Prosecutors say his age does not change the seriousness of his actions. Both men could face life in prison if convicted. The case has now gained attention beyond Phoenix. Local outrage is turning into statewide calls for change. People are asking how the system failed Zariah and whether there could be others in similar situations. And at the center of it all is a community grieving a girl whose life should have been safe and protected.
In the days after the arrests, the community's grief turned into action. Vigils were held at Marivue Park and outside the group home where Zariah had been staying. People brought candles, flowers, balloons, and handwritten notes to honor her memory. One of the most emotional voices came from a former foster mother. She told reporters that Zariah was bright, funny, and full of potential. She said the young girl deserved far more protection than she received and expressed frustration that earlier warnings about her safety were not acted on.
Photo after photo show a 5-year-old Zariah Dodd with bright eyes and a big smile.
She loved to do cheerleading and, she always had her pom-poms. She loved to ride her bike. She wanted to do horseback riding. Just anything that was possible for her to experience, she wanted to do.
Jennifer Jones says she was Zariah's first foster mom more than a decade ago. Zariah was her first placement after getting licensed, brought to her because she was left to care for her infant brother alone.
Based upon what I was told, she was going from house to house, past Apache Junction, asking for food. And they believe that she'd been there for about 5 to 7 days as the primary caregiver.
Jones says she was good at it, and it was hard to teach Zariah to just be a kid.
Stop making bottles, stop doing this. It was I have to do this because this is my responsibility.
Local news reports showed growing pressure on the Department of Child Safety to review how it handles cases where minors report being in unsafe situations, especially those in group homes. Many in the community questioned how Zariah could still have been at risk after making a formal report months earlier. The Phoenix Police Department stated that the investigation is ongoing. Both suspects remain in custody, awaiting trial. Prosecutors are preparing a case they say will reveal months of concerning behavior leading up to the tragedy. Zariah's story has now traveled far beyond Phoenix. It has become a reminder of what can happen when vulnerable lives are not fully protected and when warning signs are missed or ignored. This is not just about 2 people in custody, it's about a community demanding answers and a system being challenged to do better. In memory of Zariah Finley Dodd and her unborn daughter, August 2008 to July 2025, justice is still being sought, and for Zariah and the child she never got to hold, it is justice that cannot come soon enough.